I do think though that like if you take a step back from this game, you say, okay, that was a humiliating loss, granted, but Nick Sirianni in his first year goes to the playoffs. Jalen Hurts flashed enough at various times for us to think he might be the guy, even if there were questions coming
And
out.
don't forget, halfway through the season, Debo was done with Sirianni, and Sirianni figured it out and started running the ball instead of winging the ball around.
But
I think at that point was after week 6 and the first loss to the Bucs. It was 28-22 on Thursday night. Again, the score was closer than the actual game, watching the game would have led. And at that point, I said the Eagles shouldn't have let Todd Bowles leave the stadium. They should hire him on the spot. That's how I was feeling after week 6.
Ironically,
I don't feel all that different. I would take Todd Bowles in a heartbeat based on what he did today to the Eagles.
Bro, that was a master class by Todd Bowles. I mean, he absolutely he was playing chess and Nick Sirianni was playing some sort of low level checkers. He was dropping Vita Vea into coverage. He was sending crazy blitzes. It was
curious that
effort by Todd Bowles.
But Devontae Smith didn't touch the ball until midway through the second quarter. That was a concern. And I will say
that's mind-numbing. That's so dumb.
Even Troy Aikman, who I know, some people
who didn't
want to be there. Who didn't want to be there at all.
Did not want to be there. He's like, what are they doing with Devontae Smith? They're outthinking themselves.
He said that like every 5 minutes too. He would either say, I wish I was in Dallas announcing that game, or why the heck aren't they throwing the ball to Devontae Smith?
So let me ask you just real quickly on the Aikman thing. Like, I thought it was amazing because, Troy Aikman, and I assume Tony Romo does too, live in Dallas. And
I'm not sure.
And so, I mean, I know Aikman does. He used to run anyway, Aikman I'm pretty sure they both live in Dallas.
Okay.
If you're Aikman and you've been calling Fox games for 20 years and you always call Cowboys playoff games and suddenly you have to leave your hometown instead of just driving out to Arlington, like I would be kind of annoyed too.
Yeah, he can go to the bank and cash a check and feel okay
Still
about it.
Fairly unprofessional to complain about it, but whatever.
I was going to say there were, we talked about the officiating being pretty good in the Cowboys game, unless perhaps you're a Cowboys fan. There are some dog crap calls in this game early on. The very first drive, they called a low hit on Derek Barnett. I don't know if you remember that, Debo, on Tom Brady.
I do.
Does he remember that?
That was hot garbage. There was also a holding call late in the second quarter on Jason Kelce that brought back it was whack. A huge Goddard gain. It was a 29-yard gain that brought that back. Again, no holding there. At the end of the day, it didn't matter. And it was around this time that Brinson, was calling for Gardner Minshew. And a few moments later, Jalen Hurts threw that interception at the goal line there. But I thought prior to that, Jalen Hurts was a victim of some like drops. A
massive Goddard drop.
Yes.
That was bad. Goddard was pretty good today, but that drop was awful.
Huge. And after that, things seemed to unravel for Jalen, for the offense, for the defense. And he didn't play great over the final 35 minutes or whatever. But I don't think he ain't the reason they lost.
And came out apparently at some point was injured. And there was points in the game where I said, Jalen, just like take the 7 yards and run. There was opportunities that I think he could have run the ball. And we saw how successful he was at times, but came out limping, had the boot on after the game. Not sure if he'll need surgery. I don't know if that impacted his ability to run the ball today. But yeah,
they probably should have played if you're down 31-0. And I was saying you play Minshew anyway, just to see if so. Because like what were you thinking in the stadium, Debo? Were you thinking?
No, so I caught up on your slacks after the game. Glad I wasn't reading during the game. I don't care what situation that game got into. Minshew is not offering anything over Jalen Hurts to overcome that deficit. You're a first-year or second-year quarterback making your first career start. You're going down with the ship. You're going down with the team. There's no way I'm pulling the quarterback in that situation. I think the experience is way more valuable for Jalen Hurts than any like slight boost or excitement or energy that Minshew would have brought into that game, which I think would have been very short-lived, especially going up against Todd Bowles. I know Bowles didn't game plan for Minshew, but I think that totally would have been the wrong decision in that moment. I think the experience for Hurts, even though it was a bad experience, way more worthwhile than a couple completions from Gardner Minshew.
I was in a group chat thing and I suggested the Minshew stuff. This is not our Slack, but And somebody pointed out, like, I mean, if you yank Hurts now, you are opening up an offseason Pandora's box where people are going to question, is Jalen Hurts your guy? You have to answer, you're like, why did you pull
And they're going to
Jalen
do
Hurts?
that because
Anyway.
of Sunday anyways. But yeah, that would have opened up more. And look, like,
You're not doing
we're
it for
talking
Justin
about his
Fields
first
either.
playoff start.
I don't love playing him hurt, though. That's not great.
Yeah, but you
No,
didn't know that.
and
You
I don't
wanted
know
to
the
bring in-
severity.
Yeah.
He didn't look to be
And
limping
he's
until
making his
later.
first playoff start versus the defending champs. Last time we saw the Bucs in the playoffs, like Todd Bowles devised something to limit and shut down one of the best offenses of all time. So I don't think we should be surprised that he did the same and more against an inexperienced Eagles, inexperienced Jalen Hurts.
I don't know if you saw it early in the, I think it was in the first quarter, may have been the second quarter, but Fox did one of those like sort of, lower visual shots. I'm pretty sure that at various times in the first half, he had Joe Tryon spying Jalen Hurts. And
yeah, he's a mastermind.
But I sort of wonder if that's why he didn't run. Is he knew that he was being spied back there, so he was trying to stay in the pocket and complete the passes downfield. They weren't being aggressive downfield. They were doing checkdowns. Like they didn't trust him to throw downfield. The interception in the end zone was awful. It's just too early to. I think part of the problem with Jalen Hurts is that, unlike Justin Herbert's a bad example, but I'm trying to Jalen Hurts has been a part of our football watching lives for a lengthy amount of time with both Alabama and Oklahoma and now the Eagles. And so we feel like we have a lot more tape on him or a lot more experience with him than we do.
Noting, by the way, these are the worst wide receivers he's had in that time we watched him play.
Yeah, I mean, he has 19 career starts, a little more than one season.
Jalen Reagor is now worse than J-Jaw.
I mean, his receivers in Alabama were literally better than his receivers in Philadelphia.
It's CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, by relative.
And CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, he had. I mean, Ruggs. He had Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy. He didn't have Ridley, right? No,
I don't know, but he had four guys that got
drafted.
drafted.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and then CeeDee Lamb. I mean, like his ridiculous.
Jaden Hazelwood. He has
a Waddle. Yeah.
I think you can definitely, and you should be critical of him, but also recognize the growth and how dynamic he can be at times and the tools that he has and all the leadership qualities that he has to be a really good quarterback in this league. I know there's the 3 first-round picks. I'm not taking a Kenny Pickett or a Malik Willis or a Carson Strong just for the sake of it to start and stew this new quarterback competition in Philadelphia. If truly you want to move on from Hurts, which I don't think is the right move, then package those picks and go after a real established quarterbacks. But for me, the only person that kind of fits that for me is Aaron Rodgers. Like I don't want to package 3 firsts for Russell Wilson, and I don't want Deshaun Watson.
You don't like Deshaun Watson, and that's perfectly fine. I mean,
right, and the whole everything that comes with Deshaun Watson, I don't want that. I don't want to root for it. Yeah. And then Russ, he's still a top 7 quarterback in this league, maybe higher than that when healthy. But you're bringing in that salary. I think Hurts can develop and be cheap for another 2 years. Aaron Rodgers is the one that you move on if you can acquire a top 3 quarterback of all time, top 5 quarterback of all time. I'm not making a move for anyone else.
He's going to Pittsburgh.
He's going to stay in Green Bay. I think Russ is staying in Seattle too.
It was crazy to see everybody kind of turn on Jalen Hurts for struggling. Like you said, Debo, Todd Bowles shut down Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs always scored 9 points against the Buccaneers. At least Hurts scored 15, even though it was all in garbage time. But everybody just jumped off his bandwagon because of one horrible game, and plenty of people have had horrible games against the Todd Bowles defense. I mean, bottom line is he got to the playoffs.
It wasn't horrible. He was 23 or 43. It wasn't like he went out there.
He was below average.
I mean, that's not great with 2 interceptions.
Yeah,
below
but
average for sure today.
Yeah, I mean, the first 20 minutes I thought he was fine, and then after that the wheels fell off. Jalen,
but I'm not.
This was Andy Dalton level.
But it's also a spot where if you told me that Jalen Hurts was down 21-0 or 17-0 to Tom Brady in the Bucs, I'd be like, well, they're screwed, and Jalen Hurts is screwed. That team is not built to come back via a ton. Throw this Richard Simmons clown out of the chat, Debo. That team is not built to come back out of a big deficit because they they're a run team, and the Bucs. This is the Tampa Bay, a Tampa Bay defense with Levante David back, and with Todd Bowles knowing he can cook up something against this offense was just a bad matchup for. It was just a really bad matchup for Philadelphia, I think.
Yeah, and there's the point of top run defense. The Eagles have run against top run defenses this year, notably the Saints and a couple other teams. Hurts was an issue. I'm not putting the majority of the blame on him. I'm going back to beginning of the season, Debo, and I'm blaming Nick Sirianni. He was outmatched with the play calling, slow to adjust. This may seem, relatively minor on the macro level, but I think the fan base recognizes this. Putting Jalen Reagor back to return punts absolutely demoralized them as a team. I feel like the organization.
How many punts had he returned during the season?
Oh, he's been the punt returner, but he's been so. It's hard to be a net negative as a punt returner. Just catch the ball when you're supposed to. Let the ball go over your head when you're supposed to, and don't muff it. It's a simple job for a first round pick, but I feel like the organization feels like they have to justify the first round pick and have him out there. If you just admitted he was a massive mistake, you should have taken Justin Jefferson and didn't play him, fans would be much more willing to accept that than sticking him out there. There was a point in the game, it was 17-0. The defense was starting to adjust. Punt, Jalen Reagor muffs it. It just demoralized the whole team. They felt deflated after that. Bucs scored quick, 24-0. Game over. Game was probably over at that point anyway, but the momentum was starting to shift a little bit in the Eagles' favor. I have no idea why. And Nick Sirianni wasn't even a part of the organization last year. He has no reason to protect Reagor. And then he kept putting him out there after that. It's just, that was mind-blowing to me and just kind of emblematic of some of these issues that Nick Sirianni has. And obviously going back to the draft mistake, but that is someone. Best of luck in the future. He cannot be on this team next year.